Good morning, everybody. Hi, how are you? Oh no, we're not on LinkedIn. We've got to have LinkedIn go live. 1 second. Okay, I'm good. Hello, how are you? This is Lorraine from home. I am not at my office today because if you've been following along my journey, you will know that I'm turning part of my office into an espresso bar, just part at the front. And I'm going to be still doing my job at the back, and my kids, who are not really kids, but they're going to run it. So it's kind of a cool pivot. A lot of fun with it, but today we don't have electricity. So here I am at home, and of course I've got a bit of London background there, and still keeping the dream of travel alive. So today, in order to do that a little bit, I wanted to introduce you to a very special guest who I've been very much looking forward to talking to, which is about business travel. And business travel has been hugely affected by the pandemic. It's been absolutely a nightmare for us all, but business travel is going to be a little bit slower, perhaps, to come back. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my special guest, Patrick Doyle Hi, Patrick. Good morning. Patrick.
Hi, Lorraine. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much for joining me. So Patrick is the general manager of American Express Global Business Travel. And Patrick, of all people to ask, what's happening in the business travel world? How is it affecting you?
It's a great question. Well, I'm in my home office too, and normally I'd be on a plane traveling 2 to 3 days a week, right? So how's it affected our industry? It's been a tough year, right? So dealing with slowing down and stopping travel last year as the pandemic hit, to getting ready to restart travel, to what are we in the third wave of COVID in the Ontario area and across Canada. It's been tough. It's been tough on the industry, tough on our employees, tough on our customers and partners. But there is hope, right? We're starting to see good trends on what's happening in some of the other countries. We're starting to see some positive trends on where we're getting vaccines rolled out in Canada. And I think you and I were talking earlier where in the US earlier this week, it was the highest number of screened travelers going through TSA checks. So there is hope out there on the other side.
There is hope. And I think we all thought that, we'd have to be lighting a match to our friends in the South at Christmas. I remember, almost ridiculing the South, going, hey, close that border and never, ever open it ever again. But actually, they've really done so well to recover and get that vaccine into as many arms as they possibly can. And I think that has been the catalyst, the kicker of getting them back to start to look at travel again. And so what are we, 6 months behind, maybe 5 months behind?
Yeah, probably 4 to 5 months, right? And I think, as we ramp up vaccine rollout and everything you're hearing these days on trying to retain some degree of summer tour and travel in Ontario or in Canada, I think that will happen and can happen. I think if you bring it back to your question earlier on, business travel, it's likely not until we roll out further vaccines, get people having the second dose of vaccine, and then, companies will be looking to get back into their offices. And once they're back into the offices, that's going to open up the need for meeting with customers, partners, and suppliers. So I think that's later this year. But all of the work we're doing at American Express Global Business Travel is getting people ready to travel, because there's lots that you need to do to restart. It was easier to shut down travel than it's going to be to restart. And some of that it will be working with the government, working with our customers, and working with our partners. And I'm very encouraged with, how you're always trying to promote travel and how travel is important to our economy in Canada and globally.
Well, thank you. And I think really, right now it's not a matter of trying to earn money. It's more a matter of keeping that travel dream alive, because when it comes back, people will start to look at, what was that person saying about so and so? What's the new trend? Where's the newer places to go? Where are safe? Where are those places that have gotten more vaccines than others? What are the airlines that have done the best on the COVID safety protocols and things like that? And it's up to the travel professionals to really know all of this new information and be ready to provide it when asked.
Yeah, the role of a travel professional, travel advisor, consultant is going to be even more important, right? Because if somebody's traveling today, they want to know, as you say, the protocols and where they're going, what they need to have from a vaccine certificate to be ready for travel. Last year, we rolled out a product called Travel Vitals, and it's free to the public. You can go and look up city to city and see exactly what the requirements are. And that's what a travel advisor is going to have to do in the future, right? Going to have to offer that. And more travelers, whether it's leisure or corporate travelers, they're going to be relying on the travel professional going forward. So definitely an area that's going to be important as we move forward and restart travel.
Tell me more about this Travel Vitals. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, so it was we knew that as we wanted to lead the way in trying to get information that customers could use to understand if I was traveling from Toronto to Chicago or Toronto to Paris, what would the requirements be? What do I need to do pre-travel? What are the restrictions? And that tool also gives you can check on the protocols on the hotel, protocols on the airlines, all of that detail in one central source. So Travel Vitals, look it up, and you'll learn a lot of information, or your listeners will learn more about what they need to think about as they travel and return to travel.
That sounds really cool. I just found the link, and I'm going to put it right here below so that people can see it, and they can go and find more information there. So what are we seeing trends wise, would you say? What's come out of this that have emerged, and are these trends here to stay?
I think some of these trends are going to stay for a little while, right? So a trend that's come out of COVID, safety and security, traveler well-being, definitely going to stay, right? People are going to be concerned about whether they're traveling for leisure or corporate, their well-being. I think pre-trip information, and that's the link to Travel Vitals, right? Knowing before you go, knowing before you even consider planning going somewhere. So pre-trip information is going to be important. I think another thing that's come out through this, and it maybe isn't COVID related, but sustainability and the theme of sustainability is here to stay. GBT declared in 2019 that we were the first TMC to offset 100% of our emissions from our employee travel. And we just appointed our sustainability officer as well. So a lot of activity in this space. You see it with airlines, you see it with hotels, you see it across all of the travel industry. So sustainability is here to stay. And then I think if I bring it truly to a corporate perspective, there will be policy changes. Companies will look at the reason for travel a little bit more in the future. You might have companies that previously they might have met with a partner or a supplier 4 times a year on a quarterly basis. Maybe now in the future that'll be twice a year. So they'll be looking at how do they leverage a mix between online technology, whether it's Zoom or otherwise, and in-person meetings going forward. And I think the meeting space changes as well. We were talking earlier as well. I think meetings going forward, you're still going to have some people that will have some apprehension. So you'll have some degree of a hybrid meeting in the future.
But do you think it's important to meet face to face? I mean, for me, this Zoom thing, everybody keeps saying now I'm all zoomed out. I've been doing some of these conferences, the travel conferences, to learn more. And even actually, I was supposed to be a keynote speaker at one conference in Turkey, and I had to do it via Zoom. And all these people were sitting in the room. I couldn't see them. And I'm on a massive screen, apparently, doing my keynote, and it was like, no, I want to be there. I don't want to be up at 5 a.m. so that I can do it via Zoom. I want to be there. I want to talk to people. I want to network. I want to have meetings. I want to do all of that. What do you think?
We thrive as human beings on social interactions, right? What you just described is you could execute that keynote virtually, but it wasn't how you wanted to do it. It wasn't building the same degree of connection that you would had you been on the stage and meeting people pre and post. Yeah. So I do think face-to-face meetings will return. Face-to-face meetings are important for establishing relationships, closing business, and nurturing relationships, whether it's a keynote you're describing or closing a deal with a customer or meeting with a key partner, or just on the leisure side, right? Meeting with friends and family. People want to meet with others. And I think post-pandemic, there's going to be a boom in people wanting to get on an airplane and go and meet and socialize with others.
Yes, I think you actually also absorb more information, especially if you go to these travel conferences. You know, IMEX is a big one for group travel and business travel, and yeah, it's hard work. A lot of people say, "Oh, you know," One guy said to me, "Oh, yeah, you work that free stuff, Lorraine. You have no idea how much hard work it is to go to all these places." And I really take it seriously because I like to absorb as much. I like to know what's new, what's opening. I don't want to be the same as everybody else. I want to be different. And doing it on Zoom is so hard. It's just you don't have that interaction. You don't absorb, do you?
You miss the connection, right? And you miss the interaction that you just described. So I've joined a few of those broad conferences on Zoom over the last year. And you're right, you're not building a connection. You're not deepening a relationship. In person, you get a chance to meet, establish a relationship, start it going forward. And we all want that. I could see it in your face. I can hear it from you. You know, you and I'd rather probably be want to meet in your cafe and have a discussion versus what we're doing today. So hopefully we'll do that in the future.
I would love that. It'll be darn good coffee, I can tell you that much. The coffee machines cost me more than my car. So I'm looking forward to getting this beautiful thing in. And
well, I look forward to trying the coffee. That sounds great.
It'll be fun. But okay, so other things that I wanted to ask you about, you know, hybrid meetings, how can some people, you know, do this hybrid? How does that work? For those who don't know about hybrid meetings, what does that look like and how does it work?
I think the easiest way to describe and make a hybrid meeting come to life is you're going to have all content's going to be delivered to the audience, but you're going to have some people physically in a room or at a stage, right? A smaller group. And if you think of it, some of these larger conferences that may have happened in the past, you're still going to have, whether it's a consumer or a partner or a customer, some uneasiness about traveling to larger groups. So you got to have a medium solution, and that medium solution is hybrid, where you'll have a group or some degree of the audience in person and some degree meeting remotely and connecting via a channel like we're connecting today. They work very effectively. We've seen a lot of companies have uptake with us over the past year on that and think about it as a part of their meeting strategy going forward.
Yeah. And I think that what would you give as an advice now to a travel professional, be it business travel professional or you know, just a regular travel professional who sells leisure? What would you advise them to be doing while they're waiting? Because I know there's a lot of sadness and a lot of sort of, I'm so done with all of this. You know, we're fed up. We're really finding it hard now to put the happy face on and come out smiling. I got on a Zoom call the other day with a bunch of owners, agency owners, and you see me and I come on and I'm, life is great and wonderful and I'm doing this and doing that. And you know what? I burst into tears and I never, ever do that. But I think it was that sort of overwhelming feeling of, I'm so done. You know, we don't know where the end game is. We want to have a roadmap to it. What would you advise people right now to be doing?
So my advice would be twofold. One would be hang in there. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and there's an exit at the end of the tunnel, that there will be travel in the future. I think the second area I'd say is, you know, try to stay on top of what's going on. But I don't mean listen to all the COVID reporting every day. I think kind of stay on top of what's going on in the industry, because there are lots of new things coming out, whether it's from airlines, hotels, car rentals, meetings professionals. Stay on top of it. Keep yourself abreast of what's going on in the industry. And then I think just be ready, because when travel does start, what I've learned from across the border in the U.S., you know, leisure travel is picking up significantly. We're supporting some of our customers and partners there where the demand is just so high. So be ready, because it will start, and you will have business to handle in the future.
Yeah, it's a bit like I did a sketch for Actor a few months ago, and I said that it was a bit like being at a Disney ride. So you get in the line of the Disney ride and you go along and along and along, and you're in, and eventually you think you're getting close to the front, and actually you just enter another room, and you're in a holding space, and you're in this holding room, and there's screens everywhere giving you information. You're like, okay, come on, can we just get on the ride because we need a hot dog or something? And then eventually you get really close to the end and you think, yeah, I'm really going to get on this brand new, fantastic ride. And you just about to get in and it cancels and it's broken. And then you think, okay, what do I do now? What do I do? Do you wait or do you go and get that hot dog and get out of it? Well, no, you got to wait, because when you get up to the top of the hill and you get to the precipice, it's going to be the biggest ride of your life. It's going to be absolutely busier than you've ever been before. But we've got to be ready for that. Otherwise, we'll just fall out and go and get the hot dog.
That's the part, right? I think now's the time to get yourself ready, because things will come back. We're seeing it in parts of Asia. We're seeing it in Australia. We're seeing the SME market come back in the United States. We're seeing leisure come back in the United States. So if you're a travel professional, be ready and get ready. And I think you used the Disney example. Isn't Disney parks are starting to open in the United States? So, we'll be ready for that as well.
Yeah. And networking for new clients, they and not necessarily saying you're going to sell right now, this minute. And one of the reasons I'm opening a travel cafe is because I want people to come in the door. I've got a massive space. Walk in and talk to me. Talk to people about travel. Talk to people about group travel. Talk to people about business. What are they doing? How are they going to do this when it's all over? Just chat. Don't sell, just chat. And then when they're ready, then they'll come to you and say, now I need your advice. Can we book this yet? Where should we go? I was in South Africa about a year and a half ago now. And just before the pandemic hit, and I remember walking into this thing at Sun City, and he said, "Oh yeah, we can fit 10,000 people in here, and we can do." I was like, 10,000 people. Well, that's going to be a difficult sell now. So where are the best ways to do it? What would people look for as far as business meetings? Where would you suggest they go instead if they're going to do a big event?
Yeah, I think you're going to see different variations on where business meetings go in the future. I think you're going to have different cities they may be selecting than they have in the past. I think you're going to see, different, you might have wanted to go to Vegas in the past, or you might have wanted to go to Scottsdale, Arizona. I think you may see some different destinations. So I think if you're a travel professional, start to think about some of those other options and new options going forward. I think the other part a travel professional should spend time doing, and you mentioned your friends at ACTA, I think they need to get connected to associations like that and make sure they're aligned with the lobbying efforts, right? Because a big part of our industry opening up, once the vaccine rollout moves along fast enough, is do we have the right roadmap for the future on opening up borders and allowing Canadians to travel and travelers to come into the Canadian market? So stay close to the lobbying efforts, support those lobbying efforts, and talk to your local MPs about your livelihood and the importance of travel and the industry going forward.
And what they can do to help us. I mean, ACTA, I worked with them for a while, and I do special projects with them. And I was blown away. I have to say, I had no idea how much they worked. I mean, Heather Craig Petty Sunday, was working all day on the meeting that she had for Sunday, for Monday. And Wendy, just works all the time. The whole team, they are just on. There is no such thing as a weekend. What is weekend? It's just, they just work, because right now, more than ever, we need people to advocate for us. And it's really important that I think we stick together, and we throw our voice this way and we throw our voice that way. And if you're talking to them, that's fine. I'll talk over here. There shouldn't be any hierarchy in that. It should be, what can we do? What can we do together? What can we do to help each other together? That's the important thing, because our voices are going to carry way more together, right?
I think, Lorraine, that theme of together has been one that I've seen on the corporate travel side. from an industry perspective, whether it's all working together through associations like ACTA, but also competitors working together to, lobby the government, find the right financial support, hang in there, and be there for each other. And it has really happened. I've been proud to see it in Canada, how the agency community has come together, whether it's corporate or leisure, and trying to do the right things for individuals involved in the industry, because we will survive and we will be even more important on the other side of this. So I look forward to the other side and look forward to traveling again. Maybe you and I can do a bit of a roadshow at some point.
I would love that. Wouldn't that be cool? We could do something like one of my TV shows, but you could come with me, and we could do it from a different perspective. We go through the airport. I'm going through as a leisure traveler, and then you're like, okay, well, that's fine. But if I'm through here with a group of 100, how are we going to do this? Where are we going to? So it could be kind of interesting. Would be fun.
And we'd be able to test all the new protocols, right, that are going to happen.
Exactly.
And I think you did some of it early on. I did some of it early on, but it'll be great to see it as volume comes back into the system as well.
Yeah, I watch a lot of BBC. I miss England, obviously. My family's there. But I watch a lot of the BBC, and the BBC travel show at the moment has a sort of a series going on about what travel opening up is looking like. So if anybody wants to watch it, it's on BBC Canada. It's fantastic because it just shows you, okay, what does it look like in this country? What does it look like in this country? Because everywhere's different. Nobody has kept the same thing, right? It's weird.
And I think that's the key, right? That we have to work towards common tools and processes and a bit of alignment globally for this to work. That's what we've been lobbying at GBT, right? So, and I think what you used as an example on that show on BBC is, as travel professionals, as you're talking to customers or potential customers, find out how their experience is, right? Because you still have people traveling today. I know we're still booking essential travelers. As part of the time we end up talking to the travelers, what was your experience like? We're collecting feedback on that experience today. And I think that only helps you become even better as an advisor to future customers or your customers as they come back on board.
And then they will look to you for your advice, because if you're still standing around being the same old, oh, you want to go to Cancun? Okay, that's fine. That's just going to be Tracy the travel agent, and that won't work anymore. You've got to be valuable. You've got to be that valuable travel pro who knows where is open, who knows who's giving you the best cancellation policies, because right now that's another one too, isn't it? The flexibility, being able to move. Where are the cruise lines where you can go if you've been vaccinated and you only want to be with 100% vaccinated people? There's going to be a bit of that going on. And there's all kinds of different ways of doing things. Can you rent a whole yacht? Can you rent a whole, can you go on a river cruise instead of an ocean cruise? There's so many things that people can learn about and then pass on to new or existing clients.
Now's the time, right, to heighten the level of advice and expertise you can have. Learn about experiences, learn about what's open and available. And as I said earlier, be travel ready. Be ready for when your customers want to travel, because once the vaccine rollout continues on the trajectory it is today, you're going to have Canadians that are going to want to travel again, whether it's for leisure. And initially, it's probably going to be leisure and a lot of domestic travel. And then we're going to see corporate travel return across the board.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so I didn't ask you about this in the preview, but I am going to ask you. Tell me one funny travel story.
One funny travel story. Okay. Early in my travel days, I went to New York City for a pretty large meeting with a global client group I was a part of. And it was an internal meeting. And I had been in Florida first and then went up to New York end of the day, got there at like 12:30, 1 o'clock. Typical, got there late. The hotel is sold out, and I'm there as supposed to be on the agenda the next morning. Anyways, the resourceful manager from the hotel put me up into into the gym area and put a cot in there and locked it all off. And that's where I stayed the one night and used the shower. And then that's my meeting the next day. So there you go. There's a funny story.
Private gym all to yourself. That definitely gives new meaning to privatization of a space in a hotel.
It was very resourceful, right? It was easy and kept me in the same property and showed up. And then the next day they put me into a suite in the property because they had availability. So it was nice.
That was great. You can wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking, okay, should I be on that treadmill now? Oh. Trust me.
There's a funny story.
I would not be waking up in the middle of the night saying, should I be on that treadmill now? But that's another thing. Okay, so, well, I think I have taken up enough of your time. I have really enjoyed talking to you, and I would love to do it again. And let's do something together. I think it would be fun to travel and show people what it looks like, and, you know, show people how it's going to look when they do start to travel, because I think it's up to us to fly that flag and keep the dream of travel alive, whatever that means to you, whether you sell Mexico exclusively, whether you sell Jamaica exclusively, or whether you sell unique travel or corporate travel or sports event travel or whatever it is, keep the dream of travel alive. You don't need to sell, but it's important to just keep that message getting out there. Let people know that when you're ready, the world is your oyster. You can go anywhere you want to go, and here's how you're going to get there.
I completely agree. And I would say I'd use a slogan I saw. I think it's being used in Alberta, but stay positive and test negative. Right? And then we'll be ready to go.
I love that. Definitely. Keep the faith. Keep going. It's going to be fine. And we're going to come out of this bigger and better. And that's in different ways. Bigger, definitely. Especially with my travel cafe, I'm going to come out of this bigger, but definitely better too. So thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you, and that's awesome. Thanks a lot.
Stay safe. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks.